Have you ever heard strange noises outside your window? Something you couldn't explain. A rustle, a low growl, and then silence? Today, we're diving into one of the most chilling legends ever whispered across rural farms and villages from Puerto Rico, Mexico, and the Southwest United States. Today's story is about the legend of the Chupacabra. The name Chupacabra originates from Spanish and it literally translates to goat sucker. Because whatever this creature is, it doesn't just hunt, it drains. Reports of the Chupacabra began in the 1990s in a quiet countryside in Puerto Rico. Farmers began waking up to something disturbing. Their animals, especially goats, were found unalived. No struggle, no mess, just lifeless remains. And the strange thing was, there were 2 small puncture wounds. People were terrified. What kind of predator leaves its prey completely drained? One of the first sightings, an eyewitness claimed she saw a creature unlike anything she'd ever seen before. She described it as being 3 to 4 feet tall and had spines running down its back. The scary part was, she claimed it had glowing red eyes and scaly skin. It was almost reptilian, and it stared back at her. Some people have reported that it moves like a kangaroo, while others claim it slithers, just like a reptile. But everyone agrees on one thing: it's terrifying. After one sighting, more and more people began reporting more sightings. And soon, reports spread, not just in the countrysides of Puerto Rico, but all across Latin America, all the way to parts of the Southwest United States. And more animals were found, expired, drained. It seems like this creature has the same MO. It always seems to leave the same signs. No blood, no tracks, no explanation. Imagine waking up, walking outside, and finding your animals completely drained. No evidence of a predator being around at all. And a lot of people have reported feeling a very strange feeling that something is watching them. What could this be? Some experts believe there's a logical explanation. They say the Chupacabra might just be a sick animal, like a coyote or a wild dog, that could be suffering from a disease called mange. Mange causes animals to lose their fur, leaving them with patchy bald spots and inflamed skin. The inflamed skin can become flaky and crust and can resemble something scaly, which to some people may cause them to see the animal as almost monstrous. And when a mangy animal is desperate enough, they've been known to attack livestock. But that doesn't explain everything, because draining a prey of all of its blood isn't a symptom of mange, and it doesn't leave behind perfect puncture wounds. Another question that's been asked is, could this be mass panic or maybe something more? Others blame the legend of the Chupacabra on mass hysteria, a story that spread so quickly that people started seeing things that weren't really there. But here's the big question: why do so many people describe the same creature? The same glowing eyes, the same spine-covered back, the same feeling of being watched. What if it's not just a story? Even to this very day, there are modern encounters of the Chupacabra. People still claim to see it, late at night, near farms, on quiet empty roads, and in quiet countrysides. Some people say it moves too fast to follow, while others report it's magical or paranormal and it can disappear before your very eyes. And sometimes you don't see it at all. You're just left with a strange feeling of being watched. And in the morning, evidence of a predator being there because all of the animals have been drained. So, tonight, if you hear something, don't rush to your window. Don't call out. Just listen. Because if the legend is real, it might already know you're there, and it might be watching you. What if one night you were driving down a quiet road and saw something standing in your headlights? It wasn't a person or an animal, something kind of in between. Today, we're talking about the strangest American cryptids ever reported, the Loveland Frogman. The story begins in a small town of Loveland, Ohio, near the Little Miami River. It's the kind of place you'd expect: peaceful, quiet streets, calm water, and nothing out of the ordinary. But sometimes, quiet places hide strange things. Late one night in 1955, a traveling businessman was driving along a lonely road near the river. There were no traffic lights, no street lights. It was dark. Then his headlights caught something. 3 figures standing on the side of the road. At first, he thought they may be children. But as he got closer, he realized something wasn't right. They stood about 3 to 4 feet tall. Their skin looked slick, almost wet. And their heads were shaped like frogs. One of them turned toward the car. Large, round eyes reflected in the light. Its mouth stretched wide. But it wasn't smiling. Then something even stranger happened. One of the creatures raised its hand, holding something thin like a stick or a wand. It pointed it toward the ground. And suddenly, sparks flew. A flash of light lit up the road. The man didn't wait. He sped away, heart racing, leaving whatever he saw behind him. When he told others, most didn't believe him. A frog with a wand? It sounded impossible. For years, the story faded into local legend. People joked about it and forgot about it, wrote it off as his imagination. Until one day, it came back. In 1972, a police officer was driving near the same river. Suddenly, something jumped across the road. Not a small hop, but a powerful leap, from one side to the other. The police officer slammed on his brakes. He stepped out of his car and shined his flashlight toward the trees. And there it was. He saw a creature, again, about 3 to 4 feet tall, with leathery skin and a frog-like face, standing upright, watching him. Not afraid, not running, just staring. Another officer soon arrived, and when he saw it too, the creature climbed over a guardrail and disappeared into the darkness near the river. Now there were 2 police officers, and this story, a little bit harder to laugh off. The Loveland Frogman isn't just strange because of how it looks. It's how it behaves. It doesn't act like prey. It doesn't act like a predator. It acts aware, like it's observing and studying, and waiting. So what could this creature be? Some think it may be a misidentified animal, maybe a large iguana or an escaped exotic pet. But again, that doesn't explain the upright posture, or the repeated sightings, or the original story with the wand. Some believe this creature could be some kind of mutation. People believe pollution in the river could have caused mutations, transforming normal amphibians into something larger, something stranger. But mutations don't usually create intelligence, or coordinated movement, or behavior that seems intentional. There's another possibility, one that people don't like to talk about. What if it isn't just an animal? What if it's something tied to the water itself? Something that lives at the edge, between land and river, between seen and unseen. Most reported sightings have a pattern. The creature seen near water, late at night, in quiet, isolated areas, and sudden appearances and then sudden disappearances. A more recent story tells of a group of friends walking near the river at night, laughing and talking, not really paying attention, until one of them stopped and he pointed toward the water. At first they didn't see it, and then something moved. A shape rose slowly from the edge of the river, standing up, too smooth to be a person, too still to be an animal. Moonlight revealed its face. It was frog-like, expressionless, watching them. No sound, no warning, just present. The group froze. No one moved, no one spoke. Then it blinked, slowly. And just as it appeared, it leapt back into the darkness, gone. Only ripples remain. So what is this Loveland frogman? Another misidentified creature? A mutation? Or something that's been watching? Something that's been watching from the riverbanks. Something that's been here for decades. Next time you're near the Little Miami River at night and you hear something move, don't assume it's just a frog, because some frogs stand up. Have you ever looked up into the night sky and felt something might be looking back? Not a bird, not a plane, not even an underwear-clad man flying through the sky, but something else. Today, we explore one of the most unsettling legends to come out of the Pacific Northwest, the legend of the Bat Squatch. It all started in 1980. The ground shook beneath Mount St. Helens. A massive eruption tore through the landscape. Ash filled the sky, forests were flattened, and something may have been awakened. Because years later, in the shadows of that same mountain, people started reporting something impossible. Witnesses described a creature towering, covered in dark fur, with glowing red eyes, or sometimes yellow. But what made it unforgettable were its wings. People reported massive bat-like wings stretching up to 20 feet across. Some also reported long claws, and others said it screeched, a sound so loud it made their ears ring. And it didn't just walk, it flew. One of the most famous sightings happened late at night. A man was driving down a quiet road near the mountain. No lights, no traffic, just trees and darkness. Then suddenly, something dropped from the sky. It landed right in front of his car. He slammed on the brakes, and with his heart pounding, he saw it. There it was, a massive creature, wings spread wide, glowing eyes in the headlights. He said it stared at him, but not like an animal, but like it understood him. Then, With one powerful flap, it vanished into the night. After that report, more sightings followed. Campers, hikers, even people in the nearby towns. Some claimed they saw it perched high in the trees, while others claimed it circled above them, silently, watching and waiting. And here's where it gets a little stranger. Some witnesses reported feeling a strange pressure in the air, like the air itself was heavy. It was almost like the creature brought something else with it. But what could this creature be? Skeptics have their own theories. Some believe it's just a misidentified animal, a large bird, maybe an owl, or even a crane seen in the dark. Others think it could be a trick of the mind, fear and darkness and imagination blending together. But there's a problem. No bird has a 20-foot wingspan with glowing eyes and a body like a humanoid creature. So what did they see? People believe that the eruption was so massive that it opened up a portal, a tear between worlds. And maybe, just maybe, the bat squatch isn't an animal at all, but something that slipped through, something that doesn't belong here, and it might be stuck. Today, people still report the bat squatch. They report seeing it late at night, deep in the forests of the Pacific Northwest, sometimes just a shadow in the sky, sometimes much closer. A sudden gust of wind, a loud screech overhead, and that feeling that you're not alone. So, the next time you're outside and you hear something above you, don't assume it's just the wind, because if the legend is real, it might already be circling above you, watching and waiting. Have you ever looked into the dark water and felt, just maybe, something was looking back at you? Not a fish, not a snake, something that feels older, stranger. Today's story is about one of the strangest and least known cryptids whispered about in rivers, swamps, and forgotten waterways. Today, we'll be talking about the hairy eel. The legend of the hairy eel doesn't come from just one place. Stories have surfaced across different regions, in small fishing towns, rural villages, and deep swamp communities. Places where the water runs murky and the secrets run deep. One of the earliest reports comes from a quiet riverside town. A fisherman, someone who had spent decades on the water, claimed he hooked something massive just before sunset. At first, it felt like a log, heavy and still, but then it moved violently. The line snapped, and as the water churned, he swore he saw it. A long, thick, eel-like body rising just beneath the surface. But what scared him wasn't the size of the creature. It was a texture. It wasn't smooth. It was covered in long, dark tendrils, like wet hair. Descriptions of the hairy eel are surprisingly consistent. Witnesses describe a creature anywhere from 6 to 20 feet long. Its body is serpentine-like an eel or a massive snake. But instead of slick skin, it appears to be coated in hair or hair-like filaments. Some say the hairs move independently, drifting and withering in the water, even when the creature is still. Others claim the strands cling to objects like boats, fishing gear, and legs, as if reaching out. Its head is often described as blunt or slightly flattened, with small, pale eyes, sometimes glowing faintly in low light. And its mouth? Wide, too wide, filled with rows of tiny, needle-like teeth. Unlike many cryptids that are only glimpsed briefly, the hairy eel is often associated with specific behaviors. It lurks, it waits, and it watches from below. People who have encountered it described a strange feeling right before seeing anything, a heaviness and a silence. No ripples, no fish, no birds, then movement. Not fast at first, slow, deliberate, as if the creature is circling and studying. Some swimmers have reported something brushing against their legs, soft at first like seaweed, and then slowly tightening, wrapping before suddenly letting go. Others weren't so lucky. There are stories, quietly shared but rarely reported, of livestock disappearing near riverbeds and dogs refusing to go near the water. And in a few chilling accounts, people have vanished. The most disturbing feature of the hairy eel isn't its size, it's the hair. Witnesses say it doesn't behave like normal hair, it pulses and drifts through in unnatural patterns. Some claim it moves against the current, while others say it reacts to nearby motion, almost like it can sense things. One particularly unsettling account describes strands attaching themselves to a wooden dock, clinging and spreading, before slowly retracting back into the water, as if the creature was testing its surroundings, maybe hunting. So, what could the hairy eel be? Some skeptics believe it's a misidentified animal. Large eels, for example, can grow to impressive sizes, and in certain conditions, algae or fungal growth could give the illusion of hair. That explanation falls apart under closer inspection. Algae doesn't move independently. It doesn't reach, and it certainly doesn't wrap around limbs. Others suggest it could be an undiscovered species, perhaps a deep water organism that occasionally surfaces. Maybe a relic from the time when creatures were larger and a bit stranger and less understood. And then there are more unsettling theories. That the hairy eel isn't just an animal, but something else. Something that doesn't fully belong in our understood biology. One of the most detailed accounts comes from a group of teenagers exploring a swamp late at night. They had gone out with flashlights, joking, daring each other to get closer to the water. At first, everything seemed normal. There were crickets, frogs, and the usual sounds. And then, silence. One of them noticed the water had gone completely still. That's when the flashlight beam caught something just beneath the surface. At first, it looked like roots. Thick, tangled roots stretching through the water, but then they moved, slowly rising and uncoiling. The group froze as a massive, hair-covered body emerged just inches below the surface. The strands drifted outward, spreading like a living net. One of the teens felt something wrap around his ankle, and he screamed. The others grabbed him, pulling him back just as the water erupted. Whatever it was, it didn't follow, but it left a mark. Thin, red lines wrapped around his leg, like something had tried to hold on and pull him under. If you map out the reported sightings of the hairy eel, a pattern starts to appear. Most encounters happen in murky, slow-moving water, in areas with heavy vegetation and low visibility, and almost always at dusk or at night. It avoids bright light, it prefers silence, and it seems to stay hidden, until something enters its territory. What makes the hairy eel so terrifying isn't just how it looks, it's also where it lives. Water is already one of the least understood environments on Earth. We can't see clearly beneath the surface, and we don't know what's below us. And something like the hairy eel thrives in that uncertainty. You don't hear it coming, you don't see it approach, and by the time you realize something's there, it might already be wrapping around your legs. Even in recent years, reports haven't stopped. Kayakers have described something trailing behind them for miles. Fishermen have pulled up fishing lines covered in strange, hair-like strands. Some even claim Their sonar picked up massive moving shapes that suddenly vanished. No splashes and no trace, just gone. So, is the hairy eel real? A misidentified animal? An undiscovered species? Or maybe something else entirely? Whatever the truth is, the stories continue, and they all share one chilling detail. The water always looks calm right before it appears. So next time you're near a river or standing at the edge of a dark lake and the surface is perfectly still, ask yourself, am I really alone? Or is there something waiting just beneath?